There is a new bipartisan push on Capitol Hill to tighten oversight of federal spending to make sure you, the hardworking American taxpayer, can track where your taxpayer dollars are going, and fast. A new proposal would accelerate reporting timelines of federal funds and bring more accountability to agencies. Deputy Public Policy Editor of openthebooks.com, Rachel O'Brien, joining us now to discuss. Good morning to you. What is this new transparency bill, and what exactly does it do?
Good morning. Yeah, it's called the Expedited Transparency Act, and it's sponsored by Representative Josh Brasheen, a Republican, and Representative Jimmy Panetta, Democrat. Just this week, it amends the Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act of 2006. Now, that mouthful led to the creation of usaspending.gov, which reports all federal government spending. So their amendment would require agencies to report spending within 3 days instead of the current 30 days. A big change, and it ensures real-time public access for this information right in time for Sunshine Week this week.
Right, and so beyond speed, where does the current system fall short?
Yeah, there's lots of issues. You know, here at Open the Books, we deal with USA spending all the time. So when the act was passed in 2006, it was bipartisan. Not only the main sponsors, Tom Coburn and Barack Obama, but it was passed unanimously in both the House and the Senate. So this should be very easy to take this website and update it, right? The act required the Office of Management and Budget to create this searchable website. You have the name of the entity that receives the grant, of course, the federal agency that's giving it, the amount, a description, all of this. What some agencies are able to do now is there's a loophole where you can call a transaction other transaction agreements and you don't have to report it. Grants and contracts are reported. These OTAs, there's no specific guidance from OMB, and so it sort of makes them the Wild West of federal expenditures. Even the Treasury Department, they say that OTAs don't need to be reported because they're not mentioned in the 2006 act that created the website. And so, of course, this violates the spirit of the law. You know, these deals are growing. They account for $18 billion in 2020 alone. And so our CEO, John Hart, he testified before the Senate this week regarding this secret spending, and he thanked Senator Joni Ernst. She has introduced the Stop Secret Spending Act that would require these OTAs be reported and bring sunlight to these billions of dollars. Otherwise, it's a huge blind spot for federal spending.
It really is, and she's a huge proponent of that, by the way. She's always trying to make sure there's more accountability and more transparency. I know you mentioned it's Sunshine Week, which happens every year mid-March and really focuses on open government. So as Sunshine Week does wrap up, what other transparency issues still need fixing?
Yeah, I mean, we see these issues with state and local spending as well all the time. We often see governments denying FOIA requests under the exemption of unwarranted invasion of personal privacy, even when the records are not personal in nature. We see agencies, or governments redacting names. They redact even payroll records themselves. The federal government is incredibly slow. We've talked about this on this program before. The federal government is incredibly slow to respond to FOIAs. A colleague of mine just got a FOIA back that she filed in 2024. Of course, the records are now outdated because they only go up to 2024, which is when she requested them. You have the city of Baltimore. They are one of the top offenders of this personnel exemption where they don't release several types of records based on that. We've also talked on the show about the National Institutes of Health. For years, these scientists that get royalty payments, they won't provide how much they're getting. And we're still in court over that. And so,
which is so important because it's not just any royalty payment. It's a royalty payment from a pharmaceutical company. So
absolutely.
How is this not a conflict of interest when it comes to vaccines, when it comes to diseases?
Absolutely. Senator Rand Paul has this Royalty Transparency Act. He's introduced it several years now. It would require reporting these loyalty payments. The scientists would have to disclose it. So there's a lot of work still to be done so the taxpayer can know how their money is being spent and what their representatives and bureaucrats are doing.
All right. Great job you guys are doing over there. Deputy Public Policy Editor of openthebooks.com, Rachel O'Brien. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great weekend.